Hi everyone, I'm Mahesh Jayaraman, acupressure therapist, health counselor and co-founder of Sepalika.com. The debate over milk is loud and noisy. There's the paleo and the vegan group that claims that milk is not for human beings, it's meant only for calves. And then there are those who go to traditional diets and point out that we've drunk milk for centuries, if not millennia. The milk debate seems like it's full of white lies and dark truths. Should you give it to your kids? Should you drink it yourself? If so, what kind of milk? It's all very confusing. So I sorted out the various points of the debate for myself, looking at the hard evidence. Here's what I came up with, and please note, the debate here is far from over, and this is one practice where one size simply doesn't fit all. So you do need to be the final judge of whether the milk that is available to you works for you as an individual. But let me give you the facts. Number one, is all milk bad? Well, we seem to have drunk it forever. From the time we've herded cattle, people have drunk milk. What's the big difference between then and now? Well, we had it raw back then as nature's most complete health food. Bacterial infections were fewer since cattle were free range, grazing on open fields. There were no commercial dairy farms, widespread use of antibiotics or poor milking conditions. So if you can find yourself raw milk that is legally available in most states of the US today, that would most closely resemble what our ancestors must have had back then. Raw milk is highly regulated in the United States, and grade A milk literally requires a physician to sign off on it. Raw milk is not just health food, it's literally medicine. It has such fantastic mix of nutrients in it that it's being used now to treat all kinds of allergies, from eczema to asthma. So if you live anywhere in the developed world where you can get access to high quality, organic, bacteria-free raw milk, just go for it. In the US, you can go to the raw milk website to learn more and find yourself a genuine legal producer. Point number two, pasteurized and homogenized milk. Pasteurization is the process of boiling milk to kill harmful bacteria. Unfortunately, it also kills the good bacteria and damages some of the milk proteins. Most commercial dairies practice something called flash pasteurization, which is done at very high heat. Exposure to heat beyond 150 degrees does serious damage to milk. When we drink it and it manages to get through our intestinal wall into our bloodstream, the body attacks the broken milk proteins and dead bacteria because these are foreign bodies, and this causes allergic reactions. If these are left unchecked, it can lead to autoimmune diseases like eczema, asthma, and chronic sinusitis, just to name a few. Homogenization is the process of passing milk that's collected from different farms through a fine sieve at high pressure. This is done to ensure uniformity of the end product, but it's also extremely damaging to the milk itself. Most of the milk that is sold in India in packets is of a flash pasteurized and homogenized kind. You might be much better off staying away from such milk. However, also remember that in developing countries, milk production and transportation hygiene leaves much to be desired. So raw milk, I'm afraid, is not really a viable option unless you own cows and take extreme care of hygiene yourself. Sourcing fresh, raw organic milk from a local milkman when you know that antibiotics haven't been used, and then doing slow pasteurization at home by bringing the milk to a boil on the stove is probably the most practical option. Fact number three, A1 versus A2 milk. There's a lot of talk in the media about A1 and A2, which are just two types of milk proteins. Most of the milk produced in Europe and America from the popular Jersey brand of cow is A1 milk. Most of the milk produced from indigenous breeds in other parts of the world tends to be A2 milk. These cows which produce A2 milk produce much lesser milk per day, so they are hardly used anymore for commercial production anywhere in the world. In India, these indigenous breeds of cows are on the verge of extinction, and a few artisan farms are struggling hard to bring them back. Research, however, shows that human beings are able to digest A2 milk far better than they're able to handle A1 milk. If you really want to get into the thick of the milk debate, there are so many more aspects to argue for and against. But we figured we'd stick to the action points in this podcast. So let me sum it up. If you live in Europe or the United States and have access to legal raw milk, you should get your hands on this health food for the entire family. Involve your doctor if you have any serious allergies, but don't write it off. If you live in the developing world in places like India, avoid the pasteurized homogenized milk that is sold in packets. If you can get access to fresh, organic, raw A2 milk, then slow boil it at home and you will likely get most of the benefits of the milk that is praised in Ayurveda as being the veritable nectar of the gods. Wishing you vibrant health and well-being.